Hello guys, today I'll be reviewing the Westone ES5 custom in-ear monitors. The ES5 is Westone's latest addition to the ES series, ES which is abbreviated for Elite series. The Elite series consists of 5 different custom in-ear monitors that you can choose from. You have the entry-level ES1s, which use 2 full-range balanced armature speakers in each ear, which handles all 3 frequencies. Then you have the ES2s, which divides the frequencies up into 2 balanced armature speakers per ear, which you'll have a subwoofer and a tweeter. And then you have the ES3s, which divide the frequencies up to 3 separate speakers, which then you have a subwoofer or a mid-range and then a tweeter driver. And it's a passive 3-way, it's not a passive 2-way. And then you have the ES3X, which is it's not really a upgrade to the ES3, it's more of a side grade in the sense that it reduces the emphasis that the ES3 had in its mid-range presentation. So the ES3X is more of your high-end personal listening custom in-ear monitor, while the ES3s is more for the unstage user. The ES3X can be used for, it can also be used for unstage as well, but it's more regarded and it's more used as a personal high-end custom in-ear monitor. The ES5, which is Westone's latest addition, like I said before, uses 5 balanced armature speakers. You have 1 subwoofer, 2 mid-range speakers, and 2 tweeters running off of a passive 3-way crossover. The ES5s can be used just like the ES3X as a unstage custom IEM and a personal high-end custom IEM as well. The ES5s is Westone's answer to the latest high-end custom in-ear monitors that companies such as JH Audio, Ultimate Ears, Unique Melody, and so on were releasing. But the Westone ES5 took an interesting approach where it only has 5 balanced armature speakers. So in terms of the high-end customs, the Westone ES5 uses the least amount of balanced armature speakers. But Westones themselves, and it's pretty much the truth, the number of speakers really don't dictate, and it's not the only thing that really influences the outcome of the sound. It's more of, there's like a lot of different factors that really influences the outcome of the sound. But the Westone ES5 uses 1 subwoofer, so that was the main thing that got everyone up wondering why. The 1 subwoofer that Westone chooses to use is a fairly massive subwoofer. It's not a small one. So the usual trend with dual subwoofers are that they use 2 small subwoofers and they conjoin them together to make dual subwoofers. But the downside to using 2 small speakers to handle the bass is that they can only extend so low and they can only be so accurate, because usually the smaller the speaker, it's not going to be able to handle the bass that well. So the route that Westone chose was to use 1 large subwoofer, which is going to be able to better handle the bass and give better bass accuracy. And in my opinion, compared to the JH13 Pro, which uses dual subwoofers, I prefer the Westone ES5's bass presentation. The Westone ES5, just like any other custom in-ear monitor, let me change the macro focus. You can customize these to pretty much any color you can pretty much dream of. The Westones, they have this thing called the exotic colors, so you can pretty much, there's these nice little Java colors and these other, it's like they literally glow. The colors look very nice, but those colors, including the artwork, will cost you an extra $125 add on to the actual base price of the earphones, which is $950. At the time, I didn't have this option. I just chose a regular extra artwork, and that cost me an extra $75. So the Westone ES5, just like any other acrylic-based custom in-ear monitor, the cables are removable. Let me try to remove the cable. It's tightly wedged in there. There we go. The cables are removable in case the cables do fail, which is bound to happen if you're very vigorous with these cables. But the cables are fairly durable. These are pretty much the best cables you can get in terms of durability, and microphonics level is pretty much non-existent on these cables. These cables are just amazing. So yeah, the Westone ES5 its sonic presentation is very interesting because it it really brings together musicality and detail in a wonderful bundle that I've never really heard before in any kind of earphone or speaker before. The Westone ES5s, they still have Westone's marvelous mid-range presentation, but it's not as pronounced as the ES3X, which was supposed to not be as pronounced as the ES3. So the Westone ES5's mid-range presentation is slightly less than the ES3X, and the bass remains pretty much the same amount of level, but it's more detailed and it's more accurate. And the treble on the ES5s are very smooth yet energetic. I don't know how this is done. That's one thing I love about these earphones, is that it's very energetic up top, so it doesn't ruin the ambience and the air and the soundstage effect at all. But the sibilance, which lies in the treble area as well, is non-existent at all with these earphones. So the voices sound very natural and smooth and full. So the bass presentation on these things are just magnificent. It's for one speaker handling the bass department, it really doesn't sound like it's one speaker. It really sounds like it's not being strained at all. It sounds as if the speaker can actually play different songs at one time, handling a low bass line. It's like the bass line on these they're very impactful, but they don't bleed into the mid-range or any of that. It's just the bass is more how can I say, it's more of a chameleon, in the sense that if that music you're listening to is very demanding in the bass, you're going to hear a lot of bass emphasis, and if the music doesn't have that much bass output, you won't hear it. It's not going to add anything to the music that's not there. So the extension on the bass presentation of the Westones are very, very good. It extends as low as I can hear, which is around 20 hertz. According to the specifications, it can extend to 8 hertz. So I don't know if any media devices or any kind of output can output 8 hertz, but you won't really hear an 8 hertz tone. You just feel it. The mid-range, like I said before, is very natural, very articulate, very detailed, very open, very full, very spacious. It's just very beautifully rendered detail. It's not more I can really ask. The detail is just amazing. The voices just come through with such vividness and fluidness, and like it's just full of life. It's like pretty much it's like the vocalist just came to your house and sang to you personally. I'm just gonna recap here. The treble is very energetic yet remaining nice and smooth. There's no sibilance or harshness anywhere. It's just very detailed, nice, smooth, while remaining energetic when it needs to treble. The soundstage, compared to the JH13 Pros that I had before, it's not as wide and is not as spacious. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The ES5 is more of an intimate phone, meaning that it's like the band is right next to you. I like the way this is rendered over the band being further away from you, because it's more of the effect that the ES5s probably have more mid-range presence than the JH13. So the mid-range really dictates how the soundstage is going to be rendered. More mid-range, less soundstage effect. Less mid-range, a bigger soundstage effect. So the soundstage on the ES5s are beautiful. They're very intimate, and the imaging is just amazing. It's just spot on imaging. So if you were to just close your eyes and listen to the song as it's playing, you can pretty much accurately just know where each instrument or the vocalist is actually singing from, or where everything's just all these little spatial cues. You'll just know where the sounds are coming from at a very accurate state. So the ES5s are just an amazing reference monitor earphone. I would use these for mixing music. If I were to do that, I would pretty much trust these as much to mix music with. They're very faithful, and I just love these things. The comfortability on these things are just spot on. Like, they're custom earphones, so what can you really expect? I can pretty much sleep with these things, and when I wake up, they won't hurt me at all. Like the JH13 Pros, they would hurt me if I was to sleep with them. I'm not sure why, if they're both custom. I think JH13s, and I didn't have that great of an impression, or just JH Audio's impression machinery wasn't that accurate. But the ES5s is amazing in terms of the comfort level. What else did I miss? I think I pretty much covered everything. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, you can just post them here. If I miss anything, I'll answer them in text. Thanks for watching the video. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Later, guys.